This is a check to see if the machine is working properly. Testing 1, 2.
Hello?
Here's Mr. Cohen there, please.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry to bother you this early in the morning.
You're always sorry to bother me.
Yeah. However, I got a call Rick Conley about just a little before 9. You know Rick Conley with WDSU?
Yeah.
And I wanted your able counsel or advice, or I won't say advice, but just wanted to chat with you before I talk with him. Talk with this boy, he's called me several times, and as you know, WDSU is compiling a background or they might do a commentary on this Garrison business, you know. Either way it goes, I'm going to be the shadowy figure again or something or other. That's probably the projection on it. Well, without doubt or reservation, I could give the man a shit fit worse than Novell ever did. And I didn't know whether to pursue it in that direction or exactly what to do.
Jack, there's a time for telling the truth. And if you haven't been telling it in the past, it's not true.
Well, that isn't necessarily the thing.
I don't know. I don't know what you said. I don't know what you said. All I know is that there's a time for telling the truth, and you've gotten yourself into more trouble with playing around the edge of exaggeration.
Well, there hasn't been any exaggeration to speak of. But the deal is that there's a lot more to the whole picture than's ever been told. Without doubt, Garrison knows that I know a hell of a lot more than I've ever said. You understand? And I could, but I don't want to start on anything.
You don't want to start.
On that.
You started something 4 years ago.
Well, I know, but 5 years. I didn't start it. Started a long time before that. The thing is that without doubt I could probably give him a worse time than Novell and half a dozen other people could, and probably.
Jack, you keep talking about giving people bad time.
Well, that's the truth.
Now, why don't you just settle down for once in a long time on saying something just because it's true and forget about it.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a whole picture, you see. It's a whole picture, you know. And it would probably, without any doubt at all, it would bring another fellow in if you'll talk, you know.
A what?
It'll bring at least one other fellow, if not 2 others, into it if they'll talk. Yeah. It'll bring everything to an abrupt halt. I mean, an abrupt halt. I've got some things that are pretty big I could talk about, but it would probably bring this whole thing to an abrupt halt. But I still wouldn't want. I don't want to. The trouble is that if I do this, I'll be fighting Garrison. You understand? Or he'll jump all over me. He'll give me a worse time than he ever gave Novell, because I'll give him the magnitude of my trouble. Be a hell of a lot greater than Novell's is. And I gotta I'll just have to be at the tender mercies of Mr. Garrison unless some people will give me some backing on it, you know. No, I don't know how strong I'll be standing out there alone like a sore thumb or a pimp on a horse tit. Well, I don't want that to happen to me.
You're not going to be standing out alone if you tell the truth, because the truth ties together. The trouble with what's been going on now, there been so damn many lies. but it creates a structure of.
Well, you see, the thing that I have told, the only thing is that the man might have known Oswald, and then at the same time, I had not told the FBI or the Secret Service that I had known that he knew him, you know, which is true. I mean, it was two minor occasions, but without doubt, the man knew Oswald. And that's all. But there were...
What man knew Oswald?
Dave, you know, which is true, he did. Well, so what? He'd met him, he'd run into him, he knew him, and that's all. That's all I've been able to give Garrison. That's all I've given him so far. But I haven't given him anything that other people haven't, you see.
Yeah.
But there's some other... That doesn't mean anything. You could have met him. That doesn't mean a damn thing, you know? The man was in the city. But the thing is that, of course, this has been more or less established, and it's a good chance he did know him. But there are other things that I can talk about, and I say I could give, by telling it what I know, I could give Mr. Garrison probably blow his whole investigation, especially if it would naturally involve one other person that their word would probably be taken far more so than mine, and they'd substantiate it. Then if another person would come in, I'll have to talk to them yet, and it would doubly would do it. They'd have three different people that are saying the same thing. In other words,
Jack, the only thing I can say to you is you have a great propensity for getting yourself into trouble.
well, I'm already in trouble. There's nothing they can say about me that hasn't.
Just a minute. Now, just a minute. You have a great propensity for getting into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you that most of your trouble comes out of the fact that you play games constantly.
I'm not playing any games.
You play games constantly.
I'm not playing games right this minute.
You just love to drop out little bits of the truth and see how much trouble, confusion it can cause.
Why?
Now, the only thing I can say to you is, since you called me,
Yeah. Okay.
it's about time to just sit down and stop playing games with what might happen tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, because what has always happened to you tomorrow and the day after tomorrow is you've gotten into trouble yourself, to your family, by telling half-truths, by thinking that you're smarter than anybody else about what should be told and shouldn't be told. Now, for Christ's sake, when are you going to start to just telling the whole truth because it happens to be the truth as you know it? I think you find out that you'll be in a lot less trouble than you get into the pattern of getting all the time.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, more or less, to the extent that this man has been bugging me over a period of time there for this film interview, you know.
I think they're trying to get at the truth, and if you've got any truth to tell them, tell it to them, but tell it to them entirely. Stop playing games.
The thing is, if I go ahead and give a whole picture on this thing, I said I'll wind up giving the man more trouble than Novell ever gave him in his life.
I don't care about who gets.
And if I do that, he has, since in the last 5 months, this thing has broke my wife and I financially. The only thing that she's got now is her job down there, and she may not. He might retaliate on that. I've got to have some assurance from some people that they're not going to just leave me sitting out there like a horse tit. And
if the whole truth comes out and it makes this man wrong, then I don't think anybody's going to have anything to worry about. Because he hasn't got. The only thing that has made him strong is the backing he has gotten from people who are more concerned with fighting with their hate than they are at getting at truth. And it's about time that the whole truth came out. If the whole truth came out, nobody is going to have the ability to hurt anybody else. All the harm that's been done and all the people that are getting hurt are because of all the games that are being played with lies and half-truths, and you know it.
well,
And the only strength that this man has been that people have been feeding and backing him up in his lies and half-truths. I'm convinced when the whole truth is given an opportunity for total projection, the strength that he has that is built on
well, I'm not trying to be sophistic with you. I was trying to lay it on the line. I needed your counsel, and I think you're telling me what you believe anyway.
It's about time we test the value of things as they are, of the truth.
Well, one thing.
You've been cursed by all your little games of feeding a little bit here and feeding a little
Well,
bit
no, I wasn't. Here's the thing. When I spoke to the Secret Service, I never told them everything. I just said that what was printed in that damn report, and I got a copy of it. They didn't verify one bit of their synopsis. They didn't check anything. They just simply verbatim printed the words of David W. Ferry in their synopsis. And that strictly isn't according to Hoyle as far as an investigation is to be pursued.
Well,
you know it.
Stop trying to run the world.
I'm not trying to run the world, but what I'm trying to say is there's nothing that they could say about me that hasn't already been said. Either way, it doesn't matter. In other words, the worst I can do is be blasted all over the country, just like I was last January. But
Jack, let me say something. I have no curiosity about this thing. I'm only concerned about the kind of power abuse that has projected itself into this community.
Right, in other words, if this man...
Listen to me.
Yeah.
And then go, and I'm not going to talk anymore about it.
All right.
You've got your own decision to make. All I'm saying is, you know, you love to spout philosophy from time to time.
No, I'm not.
There's some very fundamental realities about the way things add up when they come to some ultimate conclusion.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, if you know anything, tell it all, and tell it truthfully. And then we're more likely to come to an end result in this thing in which there won't be people unjustly hurt.
Well, if I give this man the interview and they air it, without doubt, it'll be the beginning of the end of Garrison. It's about.
Well, you don't know whether the beginning or end of anything.
Well, anyway,
your only question you've got to answer.
If I get on that thing and I tell the truth about things, or what you believe to be the truth anyway, would you? And if Garrison jumps on me in retaliation, will you give me some support?
If it's the truth, yes.
Well, that's all I want to know.
If it's the truth. But stop playing games, Mark.
Well, I'm not playing games. You
have
think I'm playing games with you now?
No, I don't think you are right now. But you have a tendency to go from moments of sincerity into long periods of playing games.
Well, there's no mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
No sophistry.
All I can tell is, and I don't know what it is you know, and I'm not going to ask you what you know. Whatever it is, if you believe it to be the truth, tell it.
All right.
I'll talk to you. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hello?
Is Steve awake?
Yes, but he's in the shower.
Oh, my goodness. I'll call him back a little bit. I've got to talk to him before he gets away this morning.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Hello?
Yeah, is Steve out of the shower yet?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Hello?
Hello, Steve.
Yeah, Jack.
Look, Rick Townley has called me 5 or 6 times. You know, he's with WDSU. Of course, my spy system tells me they're about ready to do a narrative, the beginning and the ending of Garrison, which is all right with me. They've given me a fit, too. There's some things that I haven't told you that without doubt I can give Mr. Garrison a fit twice as bad as Mr. Novell ever did. I really do a job, man. I would bring one other person in on it, and perhaps 2. However, I could probably wind up by suing Garrison.
Wind up by shooting.
Suing him, just as Novell did. I didn't realize you'd go that far with it. And, for Novell. However, if I do this, I don't want to be standing out alone like a pimple on a horse tit, you know? What's your advice on this thing where it stands now?
Well, I don't know what NBC's going to do. I know that they're shooting some kind of film, some documentary.
Just a minute, there's somebody at the door.
Son, see who that is.
What? Well, anyway, the doorbell rang and the boy went downstairs. I didn't hear any answer, you know. The thing is that I can give him a big fit, but at the same time, Garrison's going to retaliate, you know that.
Well, I don't know enough about it, Jack. I'm still in that damn lawsuit, and I'm going to trial this morning at 9:30.
You know.
I just don't know what to tell you to do.
Well, I've got to talk to Rick. I got to call him at 9 o'clock.
You'll have to tell me something a little more specifically of what you want to, what you intend to say, and whether or not it's what type of flying Garrison is going to get. As far as you being sued, that your judgment proves there's nothing you have to worry about.
No.
Question is, do you want to sue Garrison?
Yeah. After all, if he hadn't have started this nonsense and started leaning, after all, when they yank you to the DA's office, they're leaning on you, you know. If he hadn't started all this thing, I would have never, that report would have never been published nationally. I'd have never been in the position I'm in today. The whole thing would have died a quiet death as it was intended to die that way, you know. But he had to exploit the death of the president, apparently, and started up, and naturally he was released, or had been released, probably even prior to his investigation, his initiation of this thing, you know. And it had been released prior to the initiation of the investigation. Nothing was ever said, and if he hadn't started, I'd have never been the recipient of the publicity I've had to start with. And so I think that I've got a hell of a good deal against him, and as much as my life has been very unpleasant since then, I think I've got, just as Mr. Novell had, I've got some right to compensation from not only Mr. Garrison, but also from some of his backers, in as much as this thing is not, he's not totally backed up by state funds, you see. The state government isn't involved except for the misuse of his position, as it were. And I didn't realize that you were going that strong, even in defense of Novell. You understand? Until this thing was announced last night.
Right. Jack, listen, I'm going to have to run on you.
Well, you think if I come up strong enough that NBC will help me out, because this thing has cost my wife and I everything we had. The money that we laid away to redo the house and renovate and a little
Hold on, there's something on the radio about this. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say is we're totally broke, and I'm totally relying upon her for support. And she's afraid of the fact she may lose her little job over the thing. And furthermore, I'm definitely afraid that if I do talk to these people and blow the whistle on the man in any way, shape, or form, he's going to retaliate, and I'll be standing out all by myself like a pimple on a horse dead.
Well, Novell's all by himself. He's been saying it all along.
Yes, but I mean, somebody's been taking care of this boy.
Not really.
But he's not working and he hasn't got that much money. I mean,
Well,
hell.
he sold his interest in the Jamaican Village. He has no money. He's just living on nothing. He can't get
Yeah,
a
and he was probably in debt with TAC and everybody else on that too. You know how these restaurant people are, a barroom owner. Hell, I know a whole bunch of them. You know, that they're in debt up to their ears. So on the surface, it makes it look like they're very solvent and have a bunch of assets. But you know how they do. They're borrowing off the pinball man, the jukebox man, or as it were, and everybody else. With the liquor people, what's on the surface isn't necessarily true behind the scenes. And in many respects, I know people that look like that are making their $100 a day, and they're spending it. Novell wasn't a frugal young man in any respect. Let's face it, he played big. He was subsidizing other business interests with his Jamaican Inn and vice versa. The guy, he was on the shoestring in many ways, much as I am. But I've been enduring 5 months of a lot of crap, and I got a wife and a kid too.
Right.
But,
My kid?
yeah,
That one's little and sitting up
they're
here.
little monsters, aren't they?
He's talking to me. He's sitting here.
Yeah. You're looking at another me, in other words. That's the way you feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could look and see another you way on back, you know.
Let me put the phone in his ear. Just say something. So he's never heard the phone before.
All right. Okay. Hello there. Hello there, young Plotkin. How are you? Hello.
He sat up and started laughing and he looked into the phone.
Yeah, I hear that voice.
Hey, say something again.
Hello. Hello. How are you? Is it a beautiful morning?
He's holding the phone against his ear now. He loves it.
Yeah, they go for it. You'll have a hell of a time keeping them off.
Yeah.
Steve, what I'm getting at is, let's be honest with one another. I think that NBC might make, I'm going to ask Rick to come over to the house this morning. He asked me to call him for sure at 9 o'clock this morning, which I intend to do. He gave me his hotline number. And I like to sit down and talk with a boy off the damn record where he can't prove pro or con, you understand?
Huh?
About our interview, and then have a chance to talk with you in person. Before I do anything, but I want to see what they're going to do for Jack.
Well, I don't blame you.
If they're willing to come up with a little bit, as I'm certain they've done with others, and then maybe back me up if they guarantee that they will back me up in the event there's retaliation on me. I'm willing to go along with it. But I'm so broke now that if I get hit anyway, I'll never be able to defend myself. I've got nothing.
I understand.
And,
I don't know if NBC's paying any money on this stuff because I don't know what they're doing. They haven't told me. Nor has Novell told me.
You know,
But I'll be. I know that big man's in town,
well, that's good.
so they got the authority right here. Well, find out. What they want.
I talked to Aaron Cohn this morning prior to talking with you, and he said that he if I would talk with him and tell the truth and so on and so forth, as undoubtedly Novell has done, that I wouldn't be standing alone as far as he was concerned, you see. And I didn't mention your name at all. I thought it'd be best to talk with you and see what your thoughts on the matter are. And I'm going to call, tentatively, I'm going to call Rick and ask him to come over to the house and chat with him, and then I'll try to see you sometime this evening.
Okay.
What time will you be in the office?
About 5 o'clock.
About 5?
Right.
Well, I'm going to call or chat with you in person.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what happened in
Okay, fine.
detail.
Fine.
And would you entertain such a thing? I mean, if
Well, I'll talk to you and we can see exactly
Okay.
where we stand.
all righty.
It's premature to make a decision.
Okay.
Fine, Jack.
Mighty
Bye.
fine.
Bye.
End of conversation with Mr. Stephen Plotkin. End of conversation with Mr. Stephen Plotkin, attorney at law, and Mr. Aaron M. Cohn of the Metropolitan Crime Commission, Thursday morning between the hours of 7 and 8, May the 25th, 1967. This is the onset of an investigation to expose those who would defame a state investigation of the assassination of President Kennedy. End of transmission. Yes, Mr. Rick Tonley in the newsroom, please, ma'am. Hello.
News?
Is Rick there?
No, he hasn't come in yet.
I tried to call him on that hotline phone. You got it off the hook, apparently.
The hotline phone?
Yeah, that 523-5033 line.
Let me see. I have to check on that. Maybe it's out of order or what the hell's wrong.
Yeah, when will he be in, son? He told me to call him around 9 this morning.
Well, I really don't know. I don't keep track of him.
But you work there, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, is that Plainer or somebody in that could give me some
Vern
information?
Rotman's here. Just a minute. Right, sure. Hello?
Hello, Vern?
Yeah.
It's Jack Martin, Vern. When will Rick be in? He told me to call him around 9 this morning.
Well, he should be in any minute. I just walked in myself.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm just a little premature.
Yeah.
I tried to call on the 523-5033 number, and it was busy.
Right, well, you know, we got a
Evidently
hotel
it was
fire.
off. Yeah, I know about that.
I expect he'll be in any minute. Would you like to leave your number and have him call you?
Well,
Or
he knows my number. I prefer to call him.
All right.
Okay.
Try again about 15 minutes.
Okay,
He'll
sir.
be here then, I'm sure.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Yeah, is Rick Townley there, please?
No, Rick. Let me check. You know where Rick is? He's out. We don't know, how to get in touch
Well,
with
he
him.
told me to call him around 9 this morning, which I'm trying to do.
Uh-huh.
And my name is Martin, and if he calls me back, I may not be here.
Well, gosh, he's out working on something special, and I just don't know how.
Well, he pursued me several days, and then he said call him around 9:30 this morning, which I'm doing. Yeah, no, I'd like some kind of an idea when he'll return or when you expect him. You all must know about when he should be back.
Well, no, we don't, because he's working on a special deal. Mr. Martin, is there any place that he could reach you in case we can
He'll
get him?
talk to me at my convenience. I'll be very explicit about it. He wants me, he's chasing me. No, he'll deal with me on my terms. I want to chat with him in person. I want to initially talk to him on the phone. And don't play chess with me, dear.
Listen, I'm not playing chess with you. I'm telling you, we don't know where the guy is.
Well,
And I'll make every effort to get in touch
I'd
with him.
appreciate it. Would you tell him to make himself available, and if he's not at the office, please leave a number where I can reach him. Because I've got he mentioned that his schedule will be very crowded today, and mine is too. No, I mean, believe me, it is. And I'm trying to bend over backwards to cooperate with this boy, and I want to help him, you know. You understand? But at the same time, hon, I can't follow up my whole day.
As soon as we can get in touch with him, we will have a message here as to...
I'd appreciate it very, very much, and I'm sorry if I seem a little antagonistic to you.
All right, thank you.
Because I'm a mean old guy anyway. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Rick Donnelly in news, please.
News.
Yeah, Mr. Rick Donnelly, please.
He's not here. He'll be in about noon.
He'll be in about noon?
Yeah.
Oh, fine. Well, that relieves all frustration then. I'm sorry to bother you. This old man Martin, I had to go out. There's only certain times I can talk at the house, you know?
Yes, sir.
Because of my family, and I was kind of upset that I couldn't reach him this morning. I told him I'd try to reach him about 9 in the morning, you know. All right, then he'll be in about noon then, huh? All right, well, tell him I called. Will you be sure and do that?
Sure will.
That old man Martin called him, and it was about this thing tonight. I want to chat with him first, you know?
Oh, yeah, I'll pass it on.
Mighty fine, sir. Thank you very kindly. You had been on the fire?
Huh?
You've been on the...
No, I was out working on
Oh. Well, look, I'd like to chat with you.
Yeah.
In person, if possible.
All right.
I don't know. I know either way I go on this thing, that they can't say anything about me that hasn't already been said.
Yeah.
So...
I think the best thing is to sit down and tell, what you know about it,
Well,
back to the 63 things.
Well, wait a minute. Well, look, Rick, there's a lot more to the thing.
We don't want to get into all the side issues of what you know about the case
No.
and all this stuff, and the evidence in the case.
Well, the only thing is there's a lot more to it than you know.
Yeah.
If I sit down and talk with you, it depends what you want.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be sitting out like a pimple on a horse dead.
Yeah. Well, I'll be glad to talk to you. Now, I'm going to have I've got to leave town for a while this afternoon. I'm probably going to be back around 7:30 or so. So we said this is going to be after, say, 8 o'clock.
Well, I'd like to try to chat with you at the house. I can run my wife and kid in the other part of the house,
Yeah.
and you and I can sit here and chat.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you here at the house before we have to get
Sure.
at the studio.
Sure. Well, we don't want to do it in the studio anyway. I'd rather, anything in this case, I'd rather do it outside the studio, to tell you the truth.
Well,
Either do it in a hotel room or
here's the thing. I'll be perfectly frank with you. I I can do a hell of a lot more than Gordon Novell's done. I could probably prove everything Gordon Novell says and give the man a shit fit. But I talked to Aaron Cohn this morning early.
Yeah.
I was counting on speaking to you at 9, so,
Yeah.
and unfortunately that didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Stephen Plotkin this morning
Yeah.
before he left the house.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you spoke to anybody since then or not,
No, I haven't.
but I could probably bring several people in on this thing besides myself to substantiate what I say. You understand me?
Yeah. Well, I don't know specific in what area, but I think probably from your point of view, in regard to you, the main thing we want to, because we're trying to piece the thing together, going back to how it all started and what, and where it has led. And I think since you were in on the initial thing back in '63, that's mostly the area, and then anything that you might have to add to that in terms of what's happened.
Well, not necessarily that, Rick. Here's the thing. What I think you perceive what I'm getting at here. I could blow Garrison's whole case up right now. I don't know whether you knew that or not. I could do 10 times the amount of damage that Gordon Novell did, or is doing. And that's what I was talking to Steve about, following up with a suit,
We don't want to get off into the various theories and anything like that.
There's no theory involved here. It's what actually...
No, I'm talking about, in other words, whether he's, get into the CIA and all that stuff. We definitely...
Oh, no, I don't even talk about CIA. What the hell have they got to do with it?
Really, what we're interested in, what is the main thrust of our program, is
any connection I might have had with CIA or the Cubans, it's irrelevant, immaterial to what I have to say. You understand?
Mainly what you have to say is...
anything I had to do with the Cubans is between myself, the United States government, and Jesus Christ.
Right.
And Christ ain't going to say a word, and I'm sure the United States government ain't going to say anything.
Sure, I know that, and that's why I say to rest your mind on that score, we're not even concerned about that. Mainly we're concerned about the validity of this investigation,
Well, what do we could blow that all to hell?
Yeah.
Are you interested?
Well, I don't know in what way you're talking about. It's really hard to talk and remember where you're at.
Yeah, and also on the telephone.
Yeah, right.
It's a bad
right.
bitch,
That's right.
I'm reasonably certain that my phone is not tapped for the simple reason I have it every morning. I call the phone company and they put the meter on.
Yeah.
And then if you notice, I play my radio in the background. Yeah. And if it is tapped, they're having a crap fit. And I'll believe what I tell you.
Right.
And another thing is, I usually turn on WTIX every night, take and dial 4 or 5, some number on the phone, and I lay my receiver next to the radio, and it plays all night, and they have to listen to about 12 hours of music.
Pretty bad music too.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I put it on. I put it on on one of these all-night stations, and if anybody's tapping that phone, they got to listen to all that tape.
Yeah.
And I think they gave up on it. If they were, I doubt that.
Yeah.
I know I haven't got any of this hocus-pocus stuff about CIA. We know that's anything I might have had, any connection with Bannister, or I might have had with the Cubans and with Grady Durham and the rest of the fellas. It's irrelevant, immaterial. I mean...
There's nothing to do with whether Garrison's got a case or not.
Well,
it has something to do with it, but it's...
Well, it's Garrison's dream, see?
Yeah.
But here's what I could tell you how the whole thing developed.
Right.
And who assisted in this motivation, and I can virtually substantiate what I have to say with cooperative testimony.
Right.
Yeah, but I'll lay it right on the line, Rick. If I do this, Garrison's going to retaliate on me.
Yeah.
And I wanted assurance from Cohn this morning, which he gave me, that I wouldn't be sitting out there like a sore thumb and defenseless. No, I've been broken financially on this whole thing in the past 5 or 6 months anyway. And I spoke to Steve and told him, well, we can go ahead with this thing. Well, I want him to back me up with a lawsuit again and an injunction against Garrison to keep him from messing with me or my family. And the same token, I think that if I give you the story on this thing, the whole picture on it, verbally before we cut the before we cut the picture,
Right.
I want some assurance from you people that you take care of little old Jack too,
Well, it depends in what way. We got to be very careful on those lines. But
well,
We'll
You know, if
the
you
fact
want
that
to...
you're cooperating with us is the best protection you've got.
Well, here's another thing, see, well, I know, let's not kid each other. It's like I told Steve this morning. He said, well, I'm not sure NBC will go behind you. I says, well, don't ship me. I know that Jamaica in. I know Gordon was, he was not solvent. He was in hock up to his neck on that thing with the jukebox people and some other people. And I said, I know who's carrying him. I said, let's drop the naive. I'm not as naive as you'd take me to be. I know some things you don't, Steve. And I said, there's a lot about this I haven't told you. And so I'm going to meet with Steve about 5 o'clock this evening and discuss this whole thing with him. And personally in his office, you understand? And of course, that's got nothing to do with you and I, but I want him to know what I'm up to. At least I'm honest with my lawyer. And the thing is that I have suffered financially. If this man jumps down my throat, I got no money for bail bonds or anything else.
Well,
And I'm sure that I can...
tell you flatly on this, Jack, and I can be friendly to you. I think in this story, if nothing else, but they're not going to get themselves in a position where it looks like they're
Well, I can back all this stuff up.
People off or anything like that.
Well,
no,
but here's look. Let's not be sophisticated with one another. We do business with thieves together. Let's lay it on the line. But I'll tell you this much: there's nothing I can't collaborate on this thing, and I'm willing to back it up with polygraph, just like your boy Novell did. See?
Well, they're not going to pay for information, but I think the fact that you cooperate with them is going to make them want to try to prevent you from being harassed, in whatever way they can.
Well, if you think you guys are failing, or any of these people have had something, by the time I get through, you know you got some. There won't be any horse shit.
Well, so we're not talking in a vacuum. Why don't we get together person to person?
That's right. Sit down in the living room. You see, here's another thing I want to apologize for is the house here. I had been in the throes of renovation here at the house about the time this thing hit last December, and pardon me, we had set money aside for paint and things like that, and I never got the opportunity to complete the living room and refinish the furniture and the upholstery and all that. So if you walk into a place that looks, you see plaster patches in it, don't be surprised,
You think as a matter of mutual
I'd rather meet her at the house. I'd rather meet her at the house for the simple damn reason there's no chance of any bugs or anything like that.
Well,
I'm leery of all that nonsense.
Well, I am too, Jack, and I
well, you're perfectly welcome to bring a debugger along if you want to, or inspect the place at your leisure.
No, I don't need to do that, but if I can bug you just as easily, so it's not that problem.
That's right. You can have an FM mic in your sock. That's the best place to carry it. I know this. And you'll be picking me up with a receiver in the car and putting it on tape. Or if I met you in your car, it could be bugged. I mean, I'm real hep, Dad, on this. I'm not a. Miriam was wrong. I'm not a wiretap expert, but I'm hep enough to it that I know what some of the ramifications are. I'm not going to pull any crap on you fellas, and at the same token, I don't want you to. I'm laying it on the line. This is strictly on the level. But this thing has gone far enough, and I want to sit down and talk turkey. And I think we should. And I think you'll see the whole picture by the time I'm through this evening. It'll take me about 20 minutes to tell you exactly what happened in the whole thing.
You name the time and I'll be there.
We'll say about 8 o'clock. Would that be all right?
Well, no. You mean? I want to try to do the filming tonight, Jack. Because we're on a tight schedule, and these people that are going to do the filming are going to have to leave town in the morning. We meet this afternoon and discuss the ground rules on it, and then set our filming for tonight at 8. Well, let's do it that way.
Well, you see, here's the thing. I delayed going out, leaving the house here till I could reach you today. Yeah. And
I don't want because of the time problem. I don't want to have a discussion tonight and then set another filming. I'd like to go ahead and get the whole thing out of the way.
Well, I want a clear-cut understanding with you guys what you're going to do to help me.
Yeah.
And I want to sit down with you and talk about it.
Right. Well, this in other words, if we're going to do the filming, though, I've got to make preparations on that. And I was going to understand we're going to go ahead and try to do the filming day. I was trying to set my schedule around that.
Yeah.
But, if we could talk in advance, then of course, then we can be set to go ahead and do the filming tonight. If you're tied up this afternoon.
Well, that's it. See, I stayed here. I went around it with, you weren't there at 9, this damn fire, I realized that. What happened, and you called just now, you see,
Yeah, right.
and
Well,
so I understand. I got some stuff I have to do this afternoon, and I have to, Steve told me to see him.
well, I definitely want to go ahead, if we're going to film, I want to go ahead and do it tonight. That's the main thing. Now, we can set the filming for a little later, if you want to do that. Say set the filming at 9 or 9:30, and then go. I'll come to your house, talk to you, and then and then we go from there to where.
Well, you see, after I talk with you, I want to talk with Steve again, see? And I've got to see him, and then I got to talk with you. I want to talk with him too.
Well, this sounds like an extended situation.
Well, that's the hell of it, see?
Yeah,
And Steve, I haven't been able to get with Steve. I haven't been able to get with Steve now for 3 days. He's been tied up in some big lawsuit in court. You know that, don't you?
Right.
And it's been like pulling teeth. If I hadn't caught him at his house, and then he didn't have any time to talk to me then. And all I could do is give him a rough synopsis, you know.
I just don't want to elongate this thing, because if you definitely feel you're going to.
Well, I'll go with you. I'll go with you, but it may be in the morning before we can get around to it. See, that's what I was going to say. God damn it! And these people are going to leave, and that's a hell of a mess, you know.
Right. Now, if you want to do this, we can handle it this way, because I think the NBC people are here, and they're the ones that you're going to have to talk turkey with as well. So
I'll talk turkey with you, and you take care of it to them. If they want it, we'll have a clean-cut understanding in our little interview this afternoon or this evening. And if they want it, fine. If not, if they don't want it, to hell with them. But I want to talk to one person.
Yeah.
I want to talk to one person and tell one person what I got to say. That's you.
Right.
I don't want to have to repeat my story, or I don't want to have to tell this thing in front of witnesses.
Right.
And,
Well, all right. Now,
and if I tell you something, it's your word against mine, then.
Right. That's right. But now, here's the thing, and I want to. If we meet at 8 o'clock, let's say, I still want to be able to go and get the filming done tonight, because I can't just keep stretching these people out. It's like.
When you hear what I got to say, I don't think there'll be any question with what they'll have to say.
Yeah. All right, and I'll go on that presumption, but I still, if there's any way possible, I'd like to go into the filming tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, when I get through talking with you, I'm reasonably certain that if they have to, they'll be willing to wait a couple of days to get it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, that may be true, but at this point, what I'm doing is keeping a whole film.
Because I'm going to have to get on the phone and call long distance to one guy that I know of. I'm going to have to reach him, and he'll have to call me back, and I'm going to have to discuss this with him to get him to cooperate with you fellas, which I know he'll do.
Yeah, well,
because all the shit's going to come back on my back. You understand? It ain't going to come on his back.
Well, but the point is that we, at this point, there's a limited area of what we want from you. I may change my mind after I talk to you.
You're gonna. I told you I was going to blow the man's whole case, didn't I? Yeah. I'm not kidding with you.
Well, we're still talking back. Let's do it this way. Okay?
I've got to talk to you in person. See?
Yeah, all right, let's do it this way.
And as far as bugs are concerned, I'm as leery as you are, you know?
All right. Let's do it this way. I'll come to you. I'm gonna have my film, because I've got to get. I can't keep. Man, this costs a fantastic amount to keep these people sitting here. Talking about it,
I know that.
just decided to do this one.
I know that.
It's a good one. And I'm gonna.
Well, I'll tell you what you can call it when you're through with me and the people I can bring in on this thing.
Yeah.
You can call it the end of Garrison, and it'll be it too.
Well.
But
but I still want to try.
My perpetuity won't be worth a plug nickel after I'm through. Well, of course, you guys are going to give it to me in the neck anyway. I'm going to be the shadow in the background, whether it's on film or it'll be both film and narration. But so I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
What's been said about me and what public opinion is of me has already been established. There's not a hell of a lot more you can do. But when I'm through with it, it'll wash the whole goddamn case up. When I get through talking to you, Dan, it'll be you'll be willing to break your broadcast and then put it on.
Well,
you know these special features that bust in? You know these special bulletins?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, you think that Gordon Novell gives you some shit. When I get through, it'll blow the whole goddamn deal.
Well, now, look, let's do it this way. I'll meet with you at 8 by myself. And
all right.
then I'll let you make whatever phone calls you want to make or what have you.
Yeah.
I want to keep that film crew standing by to film tonight.
Well, you see, I have to get a hold of a man's ex-wife here to find out where he is. Then she's going to have to call him, and he's going to have to call me back, LD.
Can't you do this in advance?
It's almost impossible. It'll be impossible until I talk with you and we have some kind of an understanding.
Well, I can't make an understanding with you.
Well, that's it. You're going to then have to talk to the NBC people, and I happen to know that the big man's in town right now. So that isn't going to be too difficult for you, is it?
But the point I'm trying to make is that don't.
In other words, you talk to him and you go to him in person and tell him the deal. I know it and you know it that they stay in the Royal Orleans. I imagine that's where Miriam stayed and the rest of the fellows stay that come in there from NBC. And in fact, that's where they tried to get me to film this bit before. So I imagine this is just conclusion with me. So I imagine you're not going to have to run very far, and the taxi cabs are pretty smooth nowadays. They get you there in a hurry.
I still want to try to set it up to do it tonight if we go. And I'll be able to tell you at the end of our discussion whether we got anything to talk about or not.
Well, I know we have.
Yeah, but I still want to keep that crew standing by the film. I don't care if it's late 11 o'clock. You ought to be able to get hold of the guy and decide. But I'll know after I talk to you better whether there's anything to talk about.
Well, I got plenty to talk about that, and I think you'll agree with it. And so,
all right, let's do this then.
Why don't you give me a buzz at 8 o'clock and confirm that you tell me you're on your way and confirm you're going to be.
I'll be there. You just tell me where to be, and I'll make sure I'm back in time. Unless something happens on my flight back or something like that, then I'll.
All right, if you're going to.
Consider it definitely at this point.
Well.
So I want to call and then can't get you, and we're losing half a night.
No, I'll be here. My wife, my kid, and I will be here this evening.
All right. 8 p.m. at what address?
1836 and a half Esplanade. 1836 and a half Esplanade. It's a big white house on the corner of Esplanade and North Prayer.
Is it an apartment or is it a house?
Well, I have the whole upstairs of the house over the Merino cleaning shop. There's a little Merino cleaners on the corner. And it's a big white house at the corner of North Prayer and Esplanade. And you'll see the entrance to the cleaning shop, and then on the other side of the front of the house there's an entrance to a side apartment. The people that live downstairs. My entrance is in the center. And it's a kind of a little alcove there, and there's a door there, and you ring the damn doorbell. If you don't see a light on in that hall downstairs, it's because one of the lights is burnt out. I have to come downstairs to turn it on. And the reason I don't necessarily do that is because the downstairs hasn't been redone yet. I had the wallpaper pulled off, and I hadn't had a chance to plaster down there yet.
Well, I will be there at 8 o'clock then, and we'll talk. And
Right, ring the doorbell, and I'll let you in, and we'll come up here, and we'll sit in my living room, and we'll have a chat.
All right.
Okay, now?
I'll see you then.
Okay.
All right, then.
Mighty fine then. Bye. Telephone conversation recorded. The callback. He called me Rick Townley with WDSU NBC at approximately 11:40 in the morning of May 25th, 1967. This is conclusion on the current tape. being conducted interviewing Mr. Louis Ivon, Detective Louis Ivon, New Orleans Police Department, assigned to the DA's office. The speaker is Jack Martin. This information here is to substantiate the fact that various people connected with the Garrison probe are being bought off by NBC. You hear that? Are being bought off by NBC or other persons involved, and there has been some to corroborate this fact. When Mr. Rick Conley calls at my house this evening, I intend to hang a story on him, a figment of imagination with several half-truths in it that he'll believe what I have to say to see whether or not they'll buy or pay money or make promises for some type of something in compensation for this. And this is strictly an investigation to prove for Mr. Garrison and the court, the people, that what he's doing is absolutely right, and that these other people are trying to influence and impede a legitimate and legal investigation. Anything I say to Mr. Conley can be taken with a grain of salt, because this is strictly a story that I'll have to hang on him, and this will be transcribed, or we will attempt to transcribe this on a tape which will be planted in a couch in my living room at the time he visits me at 8 o'clock this evening. Is that sufficient? Very well.